Hi, I just wanted to run you guys through a couple of examples of Brodmann's areas on Brain Tutor so that you'd be able to use this as a way of understanding the types of questions that could be asked on the exam. So what we have on the screen right here is Brodmann's area 22, also Brodmann's areas 41 and 42. These are all kind of smushed in there, really tight with each other. What I would expect you to be able to do is to tell, you'd have a color, for example, for 42 versus 22, and be able to identify those two from each other. And that could be on the basis of the shape and the size of the Brodmann's areas that would be depicted for you. We also know that this area, area 22, has something to do with Wernicke's aphasia. And so if we want to just emphasize that, let me just do 22 again, and then let's do the other two regions that are involved in Wernicke's aphasia. So we're looking at the at areas 39 and 40. Oops. Well, keep those selected. Okay, so what I've done now is I've selected areas 39 and 40, and then also 22. And so these are the regions that are implicated in the posterior part of 22, and areas 39 and 40 are implicated in Wernicke's aphasia. So we would want to be able to identify 39 or 40 just on the basis of these color differences here, or be able to identify the cluster of these as being important for Wernicke's aphasia. So that's one example. Another example that you could see is it would be very difficult, for example, for you to be able to discriminate between areas 1, 2, and 3. So let's go to that one. Area 1, 2, and 3. So these regions are stacked right on top of each other. It would be almost impossible to discriminate them from each other. I'm going to rotate over to the side where you can see it a little more clearly. And so here we have these different regions that are being depicted for areas 1, 2, and 3. They're on the post-central gyrus. We're going to want to know that. We want to know that the post-central gyrus is part of the anterior part of the parietal lobe, and that you want to know that this is our somatosensory cortex. Receiving a lot of our fine touch and feel vibration and pain types of information that comes in. So great. In this case, I would be giving, I would ask you something along the lines of, tell me what areas are there, but I certainly wouldn't give you one of these colors and ask you to tell me whether it was 1, 2, or 3. That's much too minute to be able to discriminate. So those are the most dramatic ones that you can imagine. Let's go to the visual cortex and take a look there and see what we have there. 17, 18, and 19 are parts of the occipital lobe that are important for processing visual information. So let me just get this to catch up with me here. Okay, so here we have areas 17, 18, and 19. You can see these regions easily from each other in their sort of almost concentric like rings. Here's our area 17. 18 is a lighter color outside of it, and finally 19 is a brownish color beyond that. So you would be expected to be able to discriminate between those different Brodmann's areas. All right, so that can be useful in terms of getting ready for the different types of pictures that you may see on Brain Voyager. Let's do one more, and that is on the on Broca's areas. So in Broca's areas, we have area 45 and area 44. These are useful because it helps to illustrate another point about this that I'd like you to know. It is fair game for me to ask you not only what lobe this is in, but what gyrus these different Brodmann's areas are. Are they on the, and so these are on the inferior frontal gyrus. In fact, we know from our diagrams that we learned before that Broca's areas involves the pars opicularis region here and the pars triangularis region here. I would not ask you to circle the pars opicularis and the pars triangularis region simply because it's not provided on Brain Voyager for you to be able to identify directly, but we would be able to need to know that from our slides and our diagrams. In this case, though, we do want to be able to identify 44 and 45 and their functioning in Broca's area, and their location. So I hope that gives you some perspective into the types of questions that can come up there. Apply this type of approach to all of the different Broca's areas that you're responsible for, so that you can be able to help integrate the information for Friday's exam. All right, thanks, and I hope this helps.